All right, so Tracy McGrady came out and said he believes that the Celtics haven't played their same brand of basketball since the return of Jayson Tatum. Make sure you follow me on Instagram, and let's get into it.
It's really just finding out the rhythm of the team now, of the other guys when you insert a guy like JT. I don't want to say it seems out of whack, but their shooting has gone down since he's been here. So it's really like, guys, what are we doing here? Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Like, are we running the same stuff that we ran before? Are we still on the same page, or are we divided because we're not playing our same game? I'm sure there's a lot mentally that these guys are going through because of the insertion of JT and them not playing the same type of basketball that they play individually, not shooting the ball extremely well. So they struggled with Memphis the other night, and they struggled tonight against a team that doesn't have their best players. So I'm sure there's some questions. It's really just.
So you heard what Tracy McGrady had to say, and obviously Celtics fans didn't like to hear what he had to say. But in my personal opinion, I don't necessarily agree with Tracy McGrady. Now, since Jayson Tatum got back with the Celtics, right, from his injury, gruesome Achilles tear injury, he's averaging 19 points, 9 rebounds, and 3 assists on 39% from the field since rejoining them. And they actually went 6-2 since his return. Now, obviously, he hasn't been shooting efficiently, right? 39% from the field is not the normal Jayson Tatum we know, but people have to understand that this is a guy coming off one of the worst injuries you can have in basketball. And obviously, if you're watching this video, we're not professional athletes. Most of us aren't. I'm not a professional athlete, but we play ball, right? We hoop with our boys at the park. We sometimes hoop at the rec. And if there's one thing y'all know is when you get injured, right? Whether it's an ankle sprain, you tore your ACL, whatever, and you're coming back to play basketball, it takes some time to sort of kind of get back in rhythm. And obviously, you can tell by the numbers, right? Now, obviously, I don't think that the Celtics are a better team without Tatum. I'm not going to sit here and say that, but they have been playing good basketball without him, and I think it points to Jaylen Brown's ascension, right? And people knocked him down thinking that the Celtics was going to have a down year, but Jaylen Brown proved the haters wrong. But I'm not surprised that Tracy McGrady said this because, Jaylen Brown looks up to Tracy McGrady. I think that's his mentor, and obviously, Jaylen Brown's the mentee. So I'm not surprised that he says this, right? But you can't be surprised that, and Jayson Tatum was definitely a top 5 player prior to his injury. You're adding a top 5 player back into a team that was successful. It's gonna take some time for him to get back in rhythm. And let's go to the numbers right now. Obviously, they're 6-2 since he's joined them. Right now, they got some good wins against Cleveland, against Phoenix. Phoenix is a pretty good team. I know the record isn't gonna really say that, but they're a pretty good, solid team. But majority of these teams were not good, right? Obviously, but this is the NBA. These are professional athletes, and you got to play, right? Now, Jayson Tatum, as you can see here, right? He goes, it's 37%, 37%, 41, 42. He starts to go up in an upward trajectory. He shot 46%, which is the highest he's shot from the floor since he's returned, and he went down to 20% against Memphis, which Tracy McGrady pointed out, albeit in a win, and obviously last night's loss to Minnesota, where he shot 6 for 16 from the field, and granted, this loss is against a Minnesota Timberwolves team that did not have Anthony Edwards. So I guess that's why Tracy McGrady came out to say this. But like I said, it's going to take some time for JT to get back in rhythm. And he also shared some his thoughts after that game, I believe. It says here, right, where it says Jayson Tatum talks about his frustrations on the court as he works back from his Achilles injury, right? And it says here that he says, it's tough in the moment, right? You try not to think about it. You just want to be Jayson Tatum and feel like yourself again. I'm not Superman, so obviously it's going to take some time. I think the next day I can give myself a little more grace over certain things, but in the moment, it's frustrating. And come on, man. Nobody likes to come in a basketball game. Nobody who loves the game of basketball, who actually plays the basketball, doesn't like to come into a game shooting, bad, right? But like I said, man, it's going to take Jayson Tatum some time for him to get back in rhythm. And despite all this, right, the Celtics are still top 2 in offensive rating and still top 5 in defensive rating. So it's not like the return of Jayson Tatum sort of kind of like blew up the team. They're still going to compete, and they're still very much a threat in the Eastern Conference. Now, obviously, we know Kate Cunningham went down with that. I think it was a collapsed lung. So many people are pointing to that. Granted, Boston in many people's eyes are still the favorites in the East, but they're even more the favorites now because of Kate Cunningham, which many people believe he'll be back before the playoffs. But we'll see how that goes. But let me know what you guys think about this topic in particular. Right? Does Tracy McGrady sort of kind of have a point? Does the return of Jayson Tatum really hinder or sort of kind of cause the Celtics to not play the same brand of basketball? I disagree. But let me know what you guys think about the comments. I appreciate the support, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.